Hello, Taurus, and welcome to Metamorphosis, your 2021 autumn reading. My name is Eric Francis Coppolino, here with some information from your astrology at this very unusual juncture in human history and for many people in personal history. And I just want to begin with a comment that I have included in the half-hour introduction to this project, but it bears repeating. And the missing thing, I think, for me in the past 18 months of witnessing these very unusual world developments, and by unusual I mean in the course of all of known history. Now I don't have direct recollection of my Atlantean lifetimes, but okay, one of them. But this is some strange stuff going on, and I think that the missing factor is the analysis of where these vast sweeping public movements have had such a profound impact on the most intimate and private areas of our lives. Why it is that any form of public health measure should influence who sits at your dining room table on Thanksgiving. And I would encourage a responsible and thorough study of history to see that just never happened before and that it's wrong. But wrong or right, the impact is there. And what we have seen in these 18 months is this highly destructive impact of the very most public realm on the very most private realm, meaning top government officials in effect determining the contents of your underwear drawer, or for that matter, what underwear you're wearing on any given day. And this violent, illegal, immoral imposition on your privacy is so central to your astrology right now that I'm going to do my best to put that into words and demonstrate, visually using the chart, the nature of that influence and of that impact, because there's many ways this focuses for you. And though I don't have the quote handy, I could probably pull it up in just doing a website search on Planet Waves. We are in the time, let's say late in the time of the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, or early in the time of a recent Saturn-Pluto conjunction, which was January 12th, 2020, just as this whole thing got started. And when you plot the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, which last happened, I think, in 1982, at the dawn of the Reagan Revolution, against the timeline of what was going on that month, it is astounding to see the connection, almost as if I would think that the events of 2020 were planned astrologically, but I don't think anybody who might have planned them had the intelligence to consult an astrologer. I think they're kind of going with the gut, you might say. We are early in this cycle, right? Conjunction is a cycle. A cycle begins. And what Richard Tarnas said about this cycle, the author of Cosmos and Psyche, whose entire life work is being vindicated by these events, including the events of 2011, just 10 years ago, and the events of 2020 and 21, was that the conjunction of Saturn and Pluto often brings on utterly grievous times. But then there are people who hear the calling, and there are people who rise to the occasion and who are able to offer themselves with a kind of strength and determination they may have never known they even had. And it is those who summon this strength and determination and who offer themselves in what is often a dangerous and courageous way to the common good who make the difference. And I know that a lot is being said about what we're all supposed to be doing for the common good. But I can tell you this in my for whatever wisdom and knowledge of history I may possess, to act on behalf of the public is dangerous. It is controversial, and anyone who does so is likely to be cast as the enemy. There's an old play, I'm not sure when it was written, called An Enemy of the People. And it was about a person who knew that the well was poisoned in a spa town where the town depended on tourism, and didn't want to confront the fact that the well was poisoned, and the person who pointed out that the well was poisoned became an enemy of the people. And so, and I'm going to get into the astrology of this in a second, but the belief that we can do something for the public that is risk-free in some way, that is some casual, whatever, okay, that's nice, we did this thing, I've done my bit, is a ridiculous concept. It is the people who are drawing the enmity and are at the center of controversies who are most likely to be the ones who are offering themselves in service. The person who is the despised and hated person of the week, and there's always a new one. What Rick was talking about when he talked about the steely determination and rising to the occasion of people was leadership. And it does not necessarily mean leadership of like riding with a flag in front of a battalion of soldiers or signing fiats in the executive chamber, but rather the leadership of example, and also the way in which every person exercises the civic power that they have. And I'd like to start the astrology part of our presentation today. Here you go. Here's the Metamorphosis chart, and I've got some low sun coming in. I always record in the afternoon on these things because I don't have any studio lighting, so we'll see the light's going to change quickly a couple of times, so I'll adjust my curtains up here. The metamorphosis going on in Aquarius. The word, I take the word metamorphosis in the name of this reading from the Sabian symbol of a spiritual transformation experienced by someone who has gone through their individual inner transformation and is now emerged as part of something larger than themselves. And the two necessarily go in that order. To take part in something larger than yourself, you have to be yourself. It's really that simple. Your chart is designed from the first mark of the pencil on the creator's page to be a part of public karma, to be part of the public journey that we share as individual beings who are here on the planet together but also have free will. And this is a very complex situation. And you are placed in an inherent position of leadership merely by dint of having Aquarius on your 10th house. So this, I'm counting Taurus, Taurus rising, Taurus moon, all the same thing. Think of this more as an astrological tarot spread than some facsimile of your natal chart. Though it is one. But for the purpose of this discussion, all things Taurus in the first, so all things Taurus, meaning in the first, have Aquarius on the 10th. Okay, easy to follow this. And the focus of the astrology right now is in Aquarius. It's about to also shift into Libra very rapidly, but let's talk about Aquarius for a minute. The reason for that is because Saturn's here, was here much of 2020, and then moved into stay at the end of 2020, and was joined by Jupiter at the end of 20. So we experienced Jupiter-Saturn conjunction right in the first degree of Aquarius. So this is going on. And then Pluto is about to, in 2 years or so, make its way into Aquarius. That's, I believe, in late March of 23. That's considerably less than two years. That's a year, really a little more than a year and a half away. And the thing about these major long-term transits, for example, Pluto and Aquarius, is that the values and attitudes have changed long before the transit takes place. This is also visible in a field closely related to astrology, particularly the astrology I'm doing, which is media studies. And they intersect in the realm of Aquarius because so much of what's happened to our lives has happened as a result of the rapid imposition of digital technology. And the rapid imposition of digital technology is going on mainly in Aquarius and in Aries. I'm going to talk a lot about both of those signs. And the movement of planets into Aquarius has provoked a kind of a false collectivism. We're hearing all about how much responsibility we have to our neighbors and all this stuff, and we're being told in this way that any substance abuse counselor or therapist should spot as classical codependency. Unless you do that thing, I'm not safe. Unless you behave in a certain way, my life is somehow adversely impacted. And this is abstract stuff. This is not like your neighbor, blasting Black Sabbath at 110 decibels at 5 in the morning. We're talking about very trivial personal things. And this collectivism has manifested in parallel to powerful transits in Aquarius. And we have more of those coming because Pluto is coming. And the values and attitudes of the Pluto transit are manifest before the transit happens, just as the values and attitudes of the next major wave of media are in effect long before that media is publicly available or consciously in that Pluto transit is Pluto in Aquarius. And the next evolution of media is virtual and artificial intelligence and humans being part of the Internet of Things. We're seeing that happen very rapidly right now. They want every human body registered on the Internet of Things. It's not merely enough that your bank account is on the Internet of Things. They want your body on the Internet of Things. It's not enough that you carry your phone. You now have to present your phone to eat. Too many places. You should not have to present your phone with a thing that says you're okay with a QR code to eat food. No. And it is unfortunate that many people do not see this, the perniciousness and toxicity of this imposition of somehow collective values onto us privately. But you must. Because in this house of power, the 10th, in this house of responsibility, including public responsibility, you have Aquarius, which is the crime scene. And that means that you will be on the precipice of some significant changes that happen. And in previous readings, including Aquarian era, Aquarian age, I have done all but get on my knees and plead with people, including and especially Taurus, to see the urgency of the honest leadership role that we need you in, and to stand where you stand with the ability to make judgment calls and to say that's wrong and that's right, from a genuinely spiritual and circumspect position that counts the rights of the weak and those who dissent as equally important as the rights of those who are in the majority and those who are willing to take on official power. You have some of that official power. You have more of that official power now that Saturn and Jupiter are in Aquarius, your 10th place. And you are on the membrane of a very important question, which is to conform or not to conform for its own sake, to push others to conform or to remind others that they are individuals, to allow yourself to be bullied into conforming, and we ain't seen nothing yet. The bullying is this is being ratcheted and amped up every day. Every day there's some new enemy being defined. There's some new enemy of the people being defined, generally warning the public that the well is poisoned, and any person could find themselves in that position. But you are in this distinct, unique, and somewhat strange position of being able to make determinations of what is right and wrong for people other than yourself, which may be your family, but it's larger than that. But it starts with you. It starts with your understanding where the borderline is between right and wrong, between yourself and society, between the world around you and the world within you, and to notice the way in which corporate and collective power is being used to rip people apart from themselves and being used to rip people apart from their families, their groups, and their friendships. And you have the ability and to some extent the authority to make some calls about what's right and what's wrong. And I am understating the amount of official power that you have, because after all, you may not be in a position where you have a title after your name, a plaque on your desk, or a nameplate on your door, where you represent people as a congressman or a senator or a mayor or a planning board executive or a health commissioner. But there's something up with your chart saying that for all practical purposes, you are either in that position or could find yourself in that position at any moment, because the situations of our lives are changing very rapidly, and the public leadership has far exceeded its authority and has become very aggressive and is showing no signs of retreating. But you are in possession of part of the boundary by having Aquarius, a sign where the collective and the individual meet and slug out the definition of a person and slug out the definition of the collective and help us determine the appropriate relationship between the two. You're right there. And this is happening in this most interesting time in your life, where the planet Uranus is in your sign or your rising sign. Now, Taurus is the sign that famously wants to be dressed appropriately for the situation. I only know of one person with Emily Post books on his bookshelf. Does anyone even know who Emily Post is? And that's my Taurus friend, Neil McDonough, who will tell you exactly what you should be wearing for any occasion. He's not a fascist or anything. He just knows the rules, the social rules. And this is, I think of this as being a Taurus thing. The whole concept of appropriateness is in many ways a Taurus concept. But you have the ultimate planet of inappropriateness, Uranus, the planet of rebellion, the planet of uprising, the planet of upheaval, the planet of revolt, the planet of the Promethean stealing the fire of the gods and bringing it to humans in your sign. And so this is responsible for some very intense tension within you and a kind of a struggle over who the real you is. And and many people who are feeling the real you as a person who is seeing places where we need to assert our personal authority against collective authority. I wish there were more of them, but there's a few. You're one of them. And yet, to do this is going to require a rearrangement of your self-concept. It's going to require you to be willing to be inappropriate, to put it simply, and to do so in a time when one of the most vexing accusations a person can make is, you conducted yourself inappropriately. That was an inappropriate question. That was an inappropriate gesture. You smiled in an inappropriate time. You who may have Emily Post books on your bookshelf know this is like not the deal. But you are also in this environment of hyper-political correctness. And you are embodying and incarnating the energy of rebellion. At the same time, you are embodying the energy of some form of leadership, righteous or not. The leadership to conform and guide people to the, I won't say it, like, step this way, to the delousing, or to be Oskar Schindler. I would give you as a spiritual homework assignment to watch the film Schindler's List and imagine yourself in the role of Oskar Schindler, who saved many people. What a fucking great movie. Who saved many, many people. And his famous line at the end is, I don't want to spoil it, is so best delivered by the actor who played Mr. Schindler. Imagine yourself in that position. What would you do? So the question is, how are you going to use your authority, which you have? You are vested with authority. You are vested with influence. You are vested with a leadership that is about your example being followed. Your example being followed. What do you do in the time of, in the situation of Oskar Schindler? Now, there are two other things I'd like to get to in the time remaining, and I've covered some of this material a number of other times, including in the most recent TAURUS Studio and Aquarian Year, Aquarian Age. So this is going to be a very pointed, emphatic summary. The influence of my face talking to you to make the point. Hello to all of my TAURUS beloveds out there. I have so many, I consider all TAURUS as my honorary beloveds. There's huge activity going on in Aries. We talked about Aquarius. In Aries and Capricorn. These signs are a little bit tucked off to the side of Aquarius. For example, Aries is tucked to the back of Taurus because it's in the 12th place of Taurus. The 12th place is what's hidden, concealed, and gone missing. Where we have Aries, we seek to find ourselves. You have Aries in the 12th. There can be no doubt there's a certain restlessness about Taurus, that there is a certain deep-seated drive to seek the inner truth of your reality that could have you experimenting with things you don't believe in, crisscrossing the nation, changing careers to find a way to do the right thing for yourself and the right thing for others. And I think that's partly driven by the power of Aries in the 12th house. And you not only now have Aries in the 12th, which is a fundamental thing that is, I think, one of the very defining properties of Taurus, but you have Chiron there. It looks like this. There's another point called Salacia. I will not get into that, but I've written a lot about it, and if you're interested, don't forget to put it on the TAURUS page. Write to me, efc@bookofblue.com, and I will post the data on the Chiron-Salacia conjunction. But Chiron is going to provoke this questing feeling for yourself and this sense of, where have I gone? I must find myself. And it is powerful, and it is building, because that Chiron in Aries, first of all, it lasts a long time, and it's building toward a conjunction to Eris, ultra long term, 130-year long term, started in like 1926 or something, placement in Aries, which is in some certain ways, the restlessness of Eris and the restlessness of Chiron have something in common, and their outcast nature, and the sense that who I am is so different. If I dare to be myself, I must dare to be different. But you've got some powerful allies guiding you to be that person, including Chiron and Eris and Aries, and Uranus, Prometheus, meaning Prometheus, in your sign. And so go with this restlessness. Feel it, be it. Take that challenge and embrace your willingness to set free the part of you, finally, that is not afraid of what other people think, and not afraid of being judged, and not afraid of being different, because you must be, not for its own sake, but for your sake, for the sake of your dharma, for the sake of your personal truth as it fits with your original instructions for being on this planet at this time. That's doubtless. You are here at this time. And I'm saying, as an astrologer, that you are here at this time for a reason. When you connect with that reason, you will connect with your personal power, and you will figure out how influential you are in the lives of certain other people. Best not to think about it too much, just to think about it as far as being willing to be the example. Last point. Profound activity in the sign Capricorn. Ninth house is religion, spiritual path. Capricorn is orthodox. But since 2008, Pluto has been going through Capricorn, devouring, demolishing, and dismantling orthodoxy. And so you have a long-running start on the, not wearing, if you wear white pants after Memorial Day weekend or something like that, right? What side does the fork go on? How many forks do you have at a table setting where it's a luncheon versus a brunch or something, right? There's probably a rule for how many forks to have. I'm not talking about that shit. I'm talking about deconstructing the impositions that were placed on you where your relationship to God or existence is concerned. Society's had a way of getting in between you and the creative power that made you and that you co-create. And that is seen as the intense, structured power of Capricorn on the ninth house. And Pluto has been just taking this apart going back to 2008. And that is a very positive thing, because you've been forced to find your personal relationship, your personal contact, your personal connection to the greater reality of which you are a part. And for reasons that are complex and that I won't get into here, this is going to peak very soon. But the thing to keep in mind is that Venus, your ruling planet, will be retrograde in Capricorn. The timing on that is between essentially the winter solstice up here north, the 19th of December, 3 months from now, to the 29th of January. This, to me, is a soul retrieval process. It is about going to the scene, directly to the scene. As Adrienne Rich said in a poem that I could not read to my beloved listeners and readers often enough, the wreck and not the story of the wreck, the thing itself and not the myth. It's a very easy poem and very beautiful poem to read, called "Diving into the Wreck," again by Adrienne Rich. You may be able to find a copy at poetry.org, or she was the first woman to win the National Book Award, I believe in 1972 or something. No woman had ever won the National Book Award, and Adrienne Rich won that for diving into the wreck. The wreck and not the story of the wreck. The thing itself and not the myth. That is where to go. That is Venus retrograde. This is about you not only finding your beliefs and your perspective on the cosmos and understanding your idea of truth and all that. No, this is directly finding yourself, retrieving your soul, your journey, your singular purpose for existence on this planet, which is exactly what you came here to learn and what you came here to do. That is the time in which you find yourself right now. All right. Thank you for your trust. Thank you for listening. I'll catch you over at a different sign. Signing off. What time? The last thing I pretty much do before the equinox. All right. Lots of love.